Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw. So fun, so great. Thank you. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, so the photo. So first of all, what you just said there beforehand, very dark. We're laughing a lot, but that's very dark.
I do have a dark streak. Yes.
I could. Well, yeah. Let's dive in, shall we?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, so in this photograph, so it's a peculiar photo because in the photo, the image shows you looking to your right,
Yes.
in a sort of bathrobe,
Yes.
and behind you is a guy, very handsome guy, not my type, but handsome, curly hair, shirtless, wearing pajamas. You both are
Yes.
kind of looking off. It looks like a stage. It could be a film, but it looks like the lighting is stagey.
Oh, good call.
It's a very kind of alcove blue lights.
Yes.
You look like you're in the moment of speech. You're not quite saying something, but you're kind of speaking off.
Yes.
I mean that it's so weird that on my computer screen is like a video of Stephanie speaking and a still of Stephanie on stage. Very strange.
That's so strange. No, you nailed it. Yeah. Keep going. Anything else?
I'm just sort of letting a listener listen to hear it out. So it's weird because this couldn't have been made during a performance because it's like, I imagine it couldn't because it looks like the photographer is on stage with you. So the portrait's right there. So describe why this photo.
It's interesting that you said that because I actually hadn't remembered that piece of it. It is a stage shot. It's from a show that I did called Frankie and Johnny and the Clair de Lune. So the the blue light that you were speaking of is their attempt at moonlight, and a great deal of the play takes place, in this window. And it's interesting because I think when they took the picture, it wasn't an actual performance. It was a rehearsal, just for that reason, so the photographer could get right up to the edge of the stage without, disrupting any of the audience and take some great shots. But yes, that is a scene that we did in every show. So when I look at that picture, I don't remember the rehearsal or the photographer. I just remember the scene and the character and the play. So it was, it was one of my favorite roles that I ever had the opportunity to play. And it was it came to me at a time in my life where I just couldn't have related more to this character. So it's just kind of one of those really great immersive roles where you sort of disappear from your own life for a couple of months and, go into the headspace of this person. And I was living away from home for a couple of months, rehearsing away from home. So just really got involved. And it's just a beautiful, real love story about two people who, are past their prime and sort of given up on love. Well, at least Frankie has given up on love. Johnny is the eternal optimist. And, they have one night of passion together and he thinks he's in love with her. And she's terrified. So the whole thing takes place in their apartment as they try to her apartment, as they try to hash it out. And he tries to convince her that maybe there is a spark or something to believe in again, that maybe there's no reason to be cynical.
What a premise.
Yeah, it's a great, Terrence McNally, it's a great script. And I was just so excited to get that part. I remember sleeping with the script under my pillow.
Awesome. It's all the process.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that theater was kind of an intimate, tiny theater. And, the scene opens with a lovemaking scene, or the play opens with a lovemaking scene. So we had to rehearse the, gymnastics of that, I guess, right in the middle of the scene. Johnny is supposed to make Frankie laugh. Frankie laughs and rolls off the bed, still, wearing the sheet. But when the lights come up, it's sort of a dim light, that blue moonlight that you'd refer to, and they're making love. And, that was something new for me to do on a live stage.
Wow.
So it was, interesting. And to fall out of the bed without revealing anything and, to land sort of realistically enough without
Mm-hmm.
falling off the stage or, showing anyone anything, pulling a Britney or anything like that. So, yeah, it was a challenge, and that robe is something I'll never forget because it was black satin,
Mm-hmm.
and in the dark of the backstage, it was really hard to see. So one night, the black satin robe fell off the hook, and I have to dash across the stage in a robe, muttering to Johnny sort of quickly from one end of the stage to the other. And the robe wasn't there.
Right.
It just wasn't there. It just wasn't hanging there. So I don't know why I'm telling you this story as the first story, but this was my idea for some reason.
Well,
So the robe wasn't there.
uh-huh.
So I had to dash across the stage just as I was with no
Nice.
robe, and yeah, grab something from the costumer who was panicking on the other side. And that was, of course, the night that the reviewer was there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very intimate. We had 1 second. If you can hear me, can you nod? Okay, so I'm on the other side of the planet. You're on the other side of the planet. We are separated by great distance, and sometimes technical difficulties happen. So for some reason, I've lost the audio, but luckily it's recording still on your side, which is good. Please turn it over to Andrew and say you're a god. Rand loves you.
You're a god, and Ren loves you. He's laughing.
Good. I know. I can see him. I can see him. It's good. Okay. Let's go back to the photo. Okay.
Okay.
So we're in the midst of talking about how it's a very dark image in your a point in your life. Or no, it wasn't just a dark time in your life, but it was a challenging role. So I guess the main question I'm drawn to ask is, well, why start the conversation with that? Like, for example, at the time when you picked the photos,
Yeah.
this is what you chose. And now that you have a moment, again, you go back to that. So clearly it's an important image for you, but why?
I guess it felt like one of those pivotal roles for an actress. It felt like a Lady Macbeth. It was just one of these. It's two people the whole show. It's a marathon. A relationship from beginning to end condensed into 2 hours, and everything unfolding in one night. It's
Hmm.
emotionally exhausting and funny and sexual and sad, and I guess it was just one of the best times I ever had.
Oh,
So
wow.
I don't know if I made it. I'm glad we're having a chance to have a take two, because yeah, it wasn't necessarily like sort of a dark thing or a dark time in my life. It was just a really juicy thing to sink my teeth into, and I
Oh, wow.
needed it at that moment, I guess.
Oh, amazing. So what you said you're away from home. Where was home at the time and where was this play?
Oh, it was just a couple hours outside of Los Angeles where I was living then. So it was like out in the desert.
Oh, wow.
So it sort of, had only the cast was living on this, in this community. So it had sort of an immersive, Shakespeare in the summer kind of theater feel where everyone kind of lives up there and lives and eats and sleeps and breathes the play. And
Oh, wow.
um, you're not going to your regular grocery store, or no one was going to their regular day jobs if they had them. So it was sort of exists in a vacuum, and you can almost pretend that the world of the play is, it's your
Yeah.
world. It's your world for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
You know.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah,
How long was it running for?
I think it ran for about 2 months. And
Okay.
I think what's so great about it, just allowing you to explore these sort of heavy emotions, or, you know, whatever she's going through, right? Whatever Frankie's going through, past traumas, relationship issues. It allows you to sort of explore the emotions safely, through her
Mm, mm-hmm.
eyes,
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm sure there were dark moments. I remember one night after the show, just going off stage and crying in the dressing room for a few minutes before I could go out into the lobby and sort of smile and circulate with everyone and
Right.
be bubbly, bubbly Miss Mary Sunshine. And Johnny came backstage and I was just sort of sitting in the dressing room weeping
Uh-huh.
tragically. And he was like, he goes, I kind of, this role is so heavy for you. He said, I
Mm-hmm.
was kind of waiting for this to happen. He said, I was kind of thinking you might get to this point earlier. He's like, I think this is good. This is healthy,
Yeah.
so get it out. Because maybe you feel a little too much like this character that's really a bit dysfunctional.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of part of the experience. Am I saying weird
Oh,
things? You're making a terrible
no,
face.
no, 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 no. I am. So I sort of mentioned this in the email, right? So I was run over by a car, almost
Yes,
died, all this brain
I
injury.
didn't
Okay,
know any of that. It's
it's okay. I know,
incredible.
but just like I don't know any of that of you, right? And so
Right.
that's why, like for me, for you, like you lived it, so you make that kind of linear connection of your life of how we led to this point now that we're talking. But okay, so when I was hit by the car, time just stopped. And then all
Yeah.
I can remember is about 2 or 3 months afterwards, memory coming back to me, and then I could just kind of piece things together. But
Oh wow.
it's like I asked myself, well, where was I during those 2 or 3 months? Where was
Yeah.
I? It was just a good solid amount of time where I was awake and conscious and speaking and doing stuff. But I wasn't there. Because I have no memory of it, I wasn't there.
Wow.
Similarly, this is how my experience of your story is. There's this linear connection of who you are. And then we graduated. I didn't go to graduation, so I went to France, I went traveling. And then I think that's it. It was poof.
Huh?
And here we are 20 or 30 years later, and I'm just like, how did you become you? Like, how did you end up in Los Angeles, for example? What was
A
that?
million tiny little things, though, right?
Exactly.
It's a million tiny little
I
things.
know. So how did you end up in Los Angeles? Like, when did you move there?
Let's see. Well, the first time I moved to Los Angeles
Oh,
was the end of 1998,
uh-huh.
and I'd been living in Vermont, and I've lived all over New England by that point. I'd
Oh,
spent
wow.
some time in Connecticut, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Connecticut, which is not
Wow.
crazy about, and just decided to go out to Los Angeles and see what was going on out there. I was on a tour, I think. Right before I left, I did like an Christmas Carol touring company thing where we went from Vermont down to Alabama and performed at all these different theaters and a couple of schools.
So there's a road, there's a path, there's a line, there's a thread of acting across all those years.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not something I've ever been able to really let go of. So
Amazing.
yeah,
Amazing. That's
yeah.
amazing to me.
I mean, it's it. The craft is what it is. It owns you.
Clearly.
You must know something of that. This is your art. I'm assuming this is your craft.
What an interesting question.
You
We're
don't
not
consider
talking
it so.
about me. It is one of my many crafts, yes. But for example, end of 1998, or
Hmm.
not, for me, 1997 when was when I was run over, right?
Oh,
So it's kind of interesting. Like I'm sure there are movies about this that sort of explore this kind of theme of how different journeys kind of split and what happens. So you landed in Los Angeles. You fell on this play. This moment was a great juicy character you could sink your teeth into.
the picture is probably from Frankie and Johnny. Is probably from 2014, I think. That
Okay,
that show. Yeah, when I first landed in LA, it was 98. So yeah, just chasing the dream and you know
amazing.
trying to find like-minded people, I guess.
Right. If you were going to speak to your younger self,
Love this question.
what would happen? What would you say?
There's so much to tell her. I hardly know where to begin. You know, I mean, I think I went to Los Angeles, fairly naive about the industry, and I think I would tell myself that it's okay to hold on to who you are, even at the expense of what you thought your dreams were. It's okay to modify things to stick
Mm-hmm.
to what you know is right, because you get a little confused in that kind of a setting as a young woman in Hollywood trying to do what you think of as a craft or an art that you've put a lot of time into studying, but really there you're sort of on parade and just
Mm-hmm.
auditioning, being marched about, and being judged on all the things that are superficial about you. So it
Sure.
can muddle your head.
Yeah.
So I think I would say, stay grounded. Remember who you are. Who you were before you came here is still who you are.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think Los Angeles is one of those one of those crazy cities that changes people.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still able to see me right now?
Absolutely, yes. Everything's great on
Okay,
my
good.
side. This is great. Let's move on to the next photo, shall we?
Sure.
So, is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So, if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.